Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 93 of the Hunger for the Hustle podcast. I am joined live today by a fellow hustler, a fellow serial entrepreneur, a fellow multiple business owner and operator, also a digital content creator and full-time hustler, which actually I thought about that. I do a bit of digital content creation myself. So me and this man are very well aligned. Daniel Snead joining me live from Rochester, New York. How are you this evening?
I'm cold.
You're cold. Yeah, you said that before when you came on.
Yeah. No, I'm doing super fantastic. Thank you for having me on the show, Jake. I'm excited for the opportunity to talk to people halfway around the world. So no, really excited. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure to have you on, and a friend of ours, Pratibha, connected us, and sometimes I just called you up straight away. I saw Daniel's got a brand and a podcast he's coming out with soon called The Hustle Bone, which is one of many things he's involved in that we'll be talking about soon. But as soon as I saw that title, I was like, I got to speak to this guy. I'm just going to call him up. Easiest way, connect straight away, and there we go, man. It was a half-hour conversation about the hustle. So, Daniel, tell us a little bit more about you and what you do and how you came to do it.
Sure. So today, I am a direct sales professional. Network marketing started out really in my early years, did a lot of team building, focused primarily on building distribution. Over the last year, I've made a transition and a pivot to just focusing on just customer acquisition and going out and acquiring customers. And so that's been a really great switch. I've seen a significant growth in my residual income, which is, why you do network marketing, why you do a home business. So I do that. I have my own podcast that I just started up. So I'm in the ground floor of that called The Hustle Bone. And, it's funny because in building my other business, my network marketing business, it's just something I said like, hey, some people, they have the hustle bone, either they have it or they don't, music, either you got the jam bone or you don't, either, some people have the crazy bone, if you're a comedian, you got the funny bone. And if you just, wishing everything would happen and you got the wish bone. But no, I got the hustle bone, and, hustle is my secret weapon. It's my superpower. I am a father. I have two beautiful daughters and a son on the way. And I also have a wonderful wife. Her name is Justine, and we'll be celebrating 11 years coming up this May. So, yeah, super excited about that. But what else do I do? I've got a nonprofit program that I'm rolling out called Best Bet Skills Academy to really teach high school students about business soft skills. I have a friend of mine just invented something called Dip It, and I'm going to be helping do sales for him. So yeah, I got this hustle bone. I can't help it. I just got to keep going.
It would almost be easier to say, Daniel, what you're not doing than what you are doing, because you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot out there.
Facts.
I love the way you gave that analogy of, the comedians have the funny bones and people are just wishing got the wishbone, and you got the hustle bone. Was that something that you're born with? You've always had, I was that kind of guy who was out there selling candy chocolates on the playground at school. That's like how I know it was always me. Was it like that for you?
So it's interesting. Like, it wasn't always business. I think in my early years, it was sports. It was sports. So I don't consider myself a natural at sports. I take that back. I was actually a natural at American football. So I know you're in Australia, so I got to make sure I put the differentiation there. But I was a natural at American football. But I gravitated more towards basketball because it was harder, and I actually liked the challenge. And so basketball did not come naturally to me. So I had to really practice. I wasn't one of those guys who just, had, the handle, could just shoot. I had to practice. I had to work at it. And so I think it started really with sports. And I was obsessed with dunking. So I was a late bloomer when it came to growth. And like my driver's license to this day still says that I'm 5'7", because that's how old I was when I was 16 and I got my license. And but I had my parents buy me these things called jump soles, and they were weighted platforms that you attach to your shoes because I wanted to be able to dunk. And I did the workouts, I did the exercises, and I dunked for the first time, I want to say around sometime at 10th grade. And I was still short. I'm 6'1" today, but my growth spurt didn't happen until later in life. And so I don't know, I just always really wanted to strive to be the best. And so started there, and then, got a little bit older, read some stuff, and I learned about, just the concepts of financial literacy, financial freedom. And ultimately what drives my hunger is really just being able to be free, and give myself options, being able to come and go, as I please, but obviously having that discipline, to still hustle, because at the end of the day, nobody tells me to do anything. Well, my wife does. Let me scratch that, take that back. Nobody but my wife tells me to do anything. Like I pretty much just get up and go, and I get to it. And so, yeah, I think early on, and I'm glad I'm actually talking to you about this, because I'm doing an episode where I'll be kind of really looking back over my life and my hustle. And I think that's where it came from. It came from sports. It came from just wanting to be the best. I mean, I wanted to dunk on everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I got one of my best friends sitting next to me. So I can tell you no lies right now because that's really where it came from. So I would say starting younger at sports. And then as I got older, just developing into, business and really life. I mean, I'm hungry, and I just like to hustle in life in general.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how the two things are transferable. Of course they are. Yeah, the hustle for sports, it's a game. And I think you can look at life and definitely the hustle of business as a game too, and your ability and of how well you can play that game will often predicate your success. Something that you touched on there, though, that I definitely want to dive into is discipline, right? Because you can think, I've got everything. It's my show now. I run this show, and yeah, like you said, you got a wife's significant other. She tells you what to do. Apart from that, there's no one else out here telling you what to do. There's no one telling you when to get up, when to go to work, how many hours of work to do a day, and then how to run that day and that schedule. And I know that was something I struggled with at the start. When I went from, it was only last September, I went from being an employee, working for someone else, filling someone else's pockets every week, to just doing my own thing, my own businesses, which I'd built on the side hustle for a long time. And when I started, there was a bit of confusion there. I was like, this is almost like too much freedom. I knew I wasn't going to go back. I knew there was no way I was stepping back. So I was growing, I wasn't shrinking. There was no way that was going to happen. There was this bit in between where I had to figure out, like, okay, how am I going to play this out? How is this schedule going to work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's crazy because I remember I had days like that where it's just like, hey, I don't have to do nothing. I think every entrepreneur goes to, especially you're right, early, you know what I'm saying? Because I think there's levels to it. I think that, when you, especially when you don't come from like a background of like, people that have owned businesses, a lot of the, kids whose parents own businesses, like traditional businesses, brick and mortar or whatever, they grew up and they see the hustle, they see it firsthand. Like, it doesn't end at the office. Work is 24/7 because at the end of the day, you run that business. So, when you grow up and you see, you have parents, like my dad was a police officer. He was a police officer. My mom, she always had a side hustle. Shout out to my mom, because I know she's watching right now. Cheryl, I'm gonna give you your props. Everything I am is because of you. So she's cracking up laughing right now. I already know. But yeah. So when you don't really see business ownership full time modeled in front of you like that, you really don't understand what goes into it. So when you go full time, on your own, you don't realize that, like, habits make or break, and if you don't have that habit of like, handling and prudence, that's the word, excellence, and how you handle your everyday affairs, the little things, then you'll struggle. And I did struggle out of the gate. I did struggle. My first business I started when I was 19. Actually, I don't think it was my first, but it was my first. Like I started a whole nonprofit corporation. And I honestly, like, yeah, I would spend a lot of days doing nothing and then do like one thing for the business in the day and just be like, yeah, I'm doing something. But now, having a family is just like, yo, you got to get to it. And honestly, recently for me, and I don't know if me and you talked about this when we had the initial call, last month I got COVID, and COVID caused blood clots in my lungs. And the blood clots were massive, and to the point where the doctors were like, we don't even know how you like are alive right now. Like, yo, because it was like a week saga where I was going to the hospital. I was in all of this pain, couldn't breathe, and they really couldn't figure out what was going on. They kept sending me home, and I'm literally gasping for breath, like can't breathe, can't walk, not because I can't walk, but because I'm out of breath. And but after that experience, I just came out of that, as soon as I started to get well enough to do things again, just like I got to get to it, because I passed out when everything started, because I passed out on the basketball court. And I when I woke up from passing out, I didn't know I passed out. So it was abrupt. Like I just knew the last thing I remember, I was going to sit down, and I woke up on the floor. And so after that happened, when I was driving home, it's just like, it dawned on me, like, yo, like if that was death, like you wasn't like you weren't ready. Like, you still had a lot left in the tank. And so I think about time so differently now, because I see how it can that quickly, what I'm saying, be taken away from you. So like now I'm just trying to maximize, as much of my time as possible, not just with business, but with my family and just, yeah. So time management is a wild thing when you first starting out in business, but if you stick with it, and you keep hustling, you figure it out.
Sure is. And like you said at the start there, I mean, we talk about the COVID thing and the blood clot thing. That's deep, man. That's huge. You did mention that to me the other day. But going back to, you said, when I started out, I had the non-for-profit and I just do one thing each day, and then be like, I'm done. I've killed it today. I've done really well. And like, it's just not reality, number one. But then you have other days where you do lots of things and you can be really busy, but not actually productive. And I think there's a big difference between being busy and actually being productive.
1,000%.
Yeah, you can just do lots of things but not actually tick anything off the list, just because you're distracted all the time.
Right. It's funny. So in network marketing, right? So you have a business and you get a website, and your website has all these analytics, right? They call it the back office. And so, when I got to that business, so let's say you got a team, and let's say you have like 15 or 20 people active working. And, so you wake up, boom, you go into your back office and you see, okay, this person, they didn't put any customers in, this person, And then in that industry, they call it management mode. And that's the mode of like managing people and trying to get people to do something, when in reality, the business is staying in what we call phase one. Phase one is actively sharing the products or services, going out and acquiring customers, and then sharing the opportunity for other people that may be looking for a way to create additional income. And so, so I found myself stuck in days where I'm sitting in my back office. Yeah, I'm on my business's website, but I'm not actually talking to people. I'm not, having, okay, so this person didn't get any customers. Well, I could easily call them up and say, hey, let's schedule a power hour. Let's sit down and, let's make some phone calls together so I can help you get some customers and help you achieve your first bonus. And so, I definitely have experienced that, just kind of doing busy work and just, moving, but without a purpose, And so, I really try to, like, it's when I was talking to my wife the other day, it's like, I almost now I get frustrated when there's like, a whole bunch of nothing time. Like I'd rather like, be doing something. And, thankfully, we got these, so you can always be doing something on your phone, like especially like with being in digital content creation. Like, okay, so I'm just sitting here, well, what, I can start interacting with people on Instagram, I can shoot out messages, I can promote my brand, and so you really don't ever have to waste time if you don't want to. So I love that now.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And how do you, I mean, you said you're a family man, you've got 2 children, that's right? Yeah.
2 and 1 on the way.
2 and 1 on the way, so things are going to get even busier soon.
We having we call it a coronial.
A coronial, I like that. So imagine there's a few there. There's a few coronials there, I think.
There's a couple.
People have been at home, people have been busy. That's what's been happening.
Hey, listen, I'll take that over divorce.
It seems to have gone that way for a lot of people, doesn't it, this time?
Right.
You've either come together or you've broken apart. It's one or the other. It's been an interesting time for a lot of people. But, you're a family man. Marriage in nearly 11 years. That's fantastic. Congratulations on that. So well done. That is a feat within itself. Multiple businesses going on. You're involved in non-for-profit as well. You've got children. You've got another one on the way. How do you find the balance? How do you keep it all balanced?
So you never really have balance. You're always striving for balance, but as soon as you think you are balanced, then there's something that happens that throws you out of balance. So balance is like trying to get all of the infinity stones. You know what I'm saying? It's this constant battle, and you're constantly like, and that's I'm trying to build this utopia. That's kind of like my goal. Is to set up just streams of passive income. So we're like, it's to the point where like, for 3 months, if I just want to like turn my phone off and just literally only talk to my family, I can do that. Like, that's the dream, it's to create that type of lifestyle, that type of freedom. Or, it's not just about being selfish, but if I want to, go spend 2 months, working intensely on a project somewhere, maybe helping, teens in the inner city. Like, for me, that's one of my passions, is just like really, I love like helping young people. Like, I feel like there's so much information that's out there that if we can get it to them at a younger age and help them understand, then they could have a much greater chance of success in life, not just financially, but in relationships. And, that's really what life is. It's relationships. And that's one of the most important things. So how do I balance? So you really don't balance, we're always doing like this, you're juggling, but that's the fun of it. That's the fun of the journey. And you figure out, how to connect. I try to, my oldest daughter, I started teaching her some business principles. She knows the difference between an asset and a liability. She knows it at 6. I didn't learn it until I was in my 20s. And so, I try to just bring her in. I've already taught her my sales pitch for my business. I'm teaching her. And so, I try to, make it fun, and my wife, she's tremendously skilled. She is a force, on her own. And so I'm trying to push her out of her shell a little bit more. And so, she's actually going to be working with me on the podcast, The Hustle Bone. And so I'm really excited about that, because I think that, she's really going to be able to flex some of her talents and some of her muscles, and on not only the side of, because I told her we were working on some stuff today. I said, look, you're a producer. You're a podcast producer, but what you're doing right now, like, this is producing a podcast. Look at you. You just got a new title. You just got a promotion. So, so now it's really exciting to, we figure it out. There's no perfect balance. We strive for balance, but, really don't ever achieve it.
I once asked someone, actually, it was Les Brown, one of the first ever times I spoke to him and interacting with him, and I said, how do you get balance out of a busy life? And he said, what you really need to do is, he actually was similar to your answer. He said, there is no real balance. It's about integration. It's about integrating all the things so that they all work together or slot together or are in some kind of schedule or structure that works for you and your life. And of course, life is in a constant state of flux and change. We have to accept that. We can't go against that. That's just how it is. And like you said, you think you've got it balanced. The apple cart's running sweet down the road. You get the 10 apples on it. Stuff's all over the place. It's stuff's coming in, stuff's going out, and particularly, you'll know this, Daniel. You've had multiple projects over the years. Sometimes you just have to have the sensibility to go, I'm going to let this go. This doesn't make business sense anymore. It's costing me more than it's making me. I need to let it go. Am I doing? Or sometimes you're involved with things. It's like, I'm still clinging on to this because I really like it at a personal level, but at a business level, it makes no sense. And sometimes like that, we have to let things go, and also then we have to let things go to make room for more things. And we don't even know what the things are, but it's about making room to let them go.
Right. No, absolutely. My nonprofit business that I started when I was 19, we had a really good run. Like we actually, when I look back and I think about what we did and like the amount of resource we didn't have, we had some resource, but we had a lot less than what we had. Did I say that right? I don't think so. But
A lot less than you have now.
Well, even then, what we needed, to do what we actually did, like, we accomplished a lot for only having a little. So, we started when I was 19. I had a phenomenal group of people. We all still, are in contact pretty much to this day. I could name them all. Justin Ortiz, my wife was a part of that team. Rob Daniels, Rob Taylor, Joel Vickers, Ryan Fisher. I don't think I missed. I think that's all of us. And so we just had a blast. We had a good old time, but we started a show called Generation News. And the premise of the show was to do all good news about young adults in our city, because at the time, there was an issue where, it was just all bad news. The teenager did this, teenager robbed this person or whatever. And so we wanted to combat that negative stereotype. And so we formed a nonprofit. And we started out with internet shows. So we would do just segments on our website. We would push them out. And then we had an opportunity to connect with the general manager of the ABC station in Rochester, the ABC affiliate. He saw our show, and we came up with a deal where he would put one of our stories. He'd take our story for the week, and they would put a minute segment in the 5 o'clock news. And they did that every Friday. And so, it worked out really good. So we were like, you know what, let's get a little ambitious. Let's ask for a show. So we went in, we had a meeting. We said, hey, and shout out to Chuck Samuels, because he's always showed me love, even ever since then. So shout out to him. But we pitched him the idea of doing a full half-hour show. And so he said he liked the idea to come up with a pilot and bring it back to him. And we did that. And he loved it. He enjoyed the pilot. I mean, we made a really good show. Yeah, when I really look back at it, we produced this show with one camera, and we really put it together well, and we had a great team, to be honest. The team was amazing, and so we actually, for about a year, we had a show that aired on ABC, in the CW station, and a few times they didn't have anything to play, and so they plugged our show in during prime time ABC. And I don't know if that means anything in Australia, but ABC is one of the big three. Yeah. And so, it was really exciting, to do that and to host and produce a TV show, in my early 20s. But, after a while, I wasn't the greatest leader then. I micromanaged. I wasn't great at, really delegating, and, I didn't know how to hold people accountable. So a lot of times either stuff wouldn't get done or I would end up doing it, and I got burned out. And again, I wasn't the best leader. I wasn't, so then I take the brunt of, kind of why it fizzled. And I didn't know how to sell anything either. So there goes fundraising. So, everybody started to graduate from college, because I wasn't in school, but a lot of the team was in college when we started. And, there's this lady called Sally Mae. And she comes after you when you graduate from college. And so, a lot of the team, they had to make money. They had to get real jobs. And unfortunately, we hadn't, created a system where we could, pay salaries and have employees. And so the band kind of broke up. But we actually should do a reunion. I'm gonna see if we can set that up. We got to get the gang back together and just check on everybody, see how we're doing. But yeah, so when I walked away from it, it was tough. It felt like I was losing a baby. It felt like I was losing a child. But not long after that, I ended up going on a pro tour and playing basketball over in the UK. And so so it was a really awesome experience. But if I hadn't let go of that other project, who knows, it maybe wouldn't have happened. So
perfect example, right? But we were just perfect example of having to let some things go to make some space for some new things.
Right. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. I just want to talk about something you said back there. Excuse me, I don't know your wife's name. I'm not sure if you mentioned it.
Justine.
Justine, you did mention it. Sorry.
Like from the Cosby Show.
Justine. So it's great when, and you see this, you see great when partners work together, you know, when husband and wife, whether the partner is boyfriend and girlfriend, when they work together, you can make a great team out of it, you know, because you really know who that person is behind the curtain, you know, and you know what their strengths and skills and attributes are and what they really like. And I think when you can pair that in the work environment, which look, it does sometimes, some people it does work, some people it doesn't. I'm not saying for everyone watching this is going to work for you, nor am I advising you to do it, but maybe look, perhaps give it a little bit of a go. I think when it works really well. You see people like Tony Robbins. He works with his wife really closely on everything he does, and gets some great results from it. You see, you know, I heard a saying once that, you know, behind every great man is a woman, not behind him, but right beside him. You know, and I think when females and males work together and they know each other intimately, they can form great teams. Is a woman.
Hold on, I just turned on the video. Okay, sorry.
Freak me out for a second. Then I was like, "That sounds like me," and then I was like,
"Right."
Yeah, my point is, it's also how you've paired up with your wife, Justine, to help produce your podcast. And I think, you know, husbands and wives can form great teams in business. It's not always something that is seen as the sensible thing to be done, but I think when it works, it really can work really well. And it brings, you know, greater value to your relationship, because now you have this other avenue, this other string to the bow that brings strength to you both.
It's funny because I just believe that my wife is brilliant. Like, I just believe that she's one of the smartest. Like, I mean, I hustle, but like her hustle is like on 1,000. Like, yo, she does 18 things at once. And she is organized. Like, if she has a project to do, she maps it out. She's like, I'm gonna do this much every day until I complete it. Like, I just wing stuff, to be honest with you. Like, I just get up and I just work in bunches and I figure it out. And so for a long time, we actually, you know, I was really pushing her to the point where it created just some friction, you know what I'm saying, in our relationship, because I just wanted her. I knew there was more for her. I knew that she could do more. And so, but sometimes you can't push, you know, sometimes you have to just chill and you know, you have to pray and hope that, you know, they see their own potential. And I think in this situation, she's seeing it, because in some of my other businesses, I really pushed her. I was like, hey, you have a gift. You can do this. Like, come on, let's go. We'll get to our goals faster if there's two of us instead of one of us. And but no, I think, you know, again, you know, 11 years in the game, you know, we're finding some chemistry. And you know, today she actually sent out an email. So one of my favorite books of all time is The Go-Giver. And it's co-authored by Bob Berg and John David Mann. Have you heard of it?
I haven't.
You got to get this book. Fantastic book. 1,000% got to get it. I've listened to this book multiple times, probably over 30 times, because it's a book where you want to live the principles. Like, you want the principles in the book to become habits that you just do every day. And so, you know, we talked about her, you know, being a producer or whatever, but she was the one today. She started a correspondence and emailing to get the interview set up. So Bob Berg will be one of my first guests on the Hustle Bone podcast. So you guys heard it first here. Well, actually, no, my wife, she leaked it. She put it on her Facebook page like an hour ago. But you're hearing it now from me that, you know, we'll have, you know, a best-selling author as our first guest, and someone who really, his work has had a huge impact. But, you know, shout out to Justine for, you know, spearheading that and really getting that done, you know, for us.
Yeah, shout out to Justine for keeping you on track. And you know, for sharing that belief. You know, sometimes we all lose our belief in ourselves in life. It wavers, it comes, it goes, but you can borrow other people who know you. You can borrow their belief in you. You know, and sometimes we rely on that and we become dependent on it, and people see it as a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think it's a great thing. I think it's something that should be harnessed and cherished. And frankly, the more of it that goes on, and you put it so well there, you know, if there's two of us, we can achieve our goals together a lot faster than if there's just one of us.
Absolutely, 100%. And
Yeah.
I'm excited, to be honest. I feel like, I'm in the prime of my life, and God has been really good to me. And it's my goal to just, I want to pour everything out, and when I went through that experience, with my health, last month, it just really hit me like, yo, like there's more, what I'm saying? There's more, and don't waste time, because you don't know when your number's up, you just don't know, and so, like right now, my hustle is just on an entirely different level, because, when I leave this planet, I want to make a mark on people. Money's cool, creating this awesome lifestyle, what I'm saying? Like taking helicopters and all this stuff, that's all fantastic. But ultimately, the measure of a man is how he impacted others and the people around him. And so, I believe that, God has given me a really sharp mind and some brilliant ideas to benefit people, to help people, to move people forward. And, that's why the Hustle Bone podcast is so important to me, is because I know there are people out there that need to hear other people's stories. Someone else's story could be the breakthrough for someone else. Someone else's story and what they've gone through can be the piece that somebody else needs to get them over that hump. And so creating, a platform and a place where stories can be shared, to me it's incredibly important, because I think about the stories that have gotten me through. I think about, when I was ready to give up, and, and this as an entrepreneur, like, that happens more often than we like to admit. What I mean? Sometimes for 2-3 weeks straight, you can wake up like, man, what the heck am I doing? I'm about to go get me a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had a friend of mine that I played ball with. He called me up talking about hey, we're hiring somebody at the dealership, 6-figure potential job. And I started thinking like, well, hold on. I think probably I could finesse that. and so, it's just, you don't make it until you make it. You know what I'm saying? And then you hustle until you make it. And even when you make it, it becomes such a habit that it's just you always on 100. You know what I'm saying? It's always go time, because that's how you have to make it. You make it by making go habitual. And so, and I think it's funny, because the more I've learned about business and entrepreneurship, the more I understand that, like, when you see people like Jeff Bezos, when you see people like, there's people that have been really successful, both in business, financially, whatever, like, and you're like, well, why don't they just go sit down somewhere and chill? Nah, go is a habit. Go is a habit. And once you create the habit, it's just not something that you just, can easily just shut down, especially when you realize a dream. Well, if I realize a dream, I can realize another dream. And so, so that's really what I want to do, is I want to make an impact. And, shout out to everybody in Australia that listens to this, and in your home country, the UK, Rochester, New York. And I see you got the Yankees hat on. You did that for the culture. For
the culture, brother.
I see you. Word.
It's so true what you said there. If you're a goal setter, you're a goal kicker. And if you're a goal kicker, then you know how good that feels when you achieve the goal. And that's what drives you to get more goals, to score more goals, to kick more goals. There's no like, yeah, it's great. There's like, when I set a goal, I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm working towards it. And then when it comes and I've done it and it's arrived, I'm like, that's great. But there's no time to have a celebration party for it. What's next? What's the next thing? What's next? And that's what the hustle, that's what the drive is all about for me. Of course, I appreciate the goals that I'm working towards, and I'm always thankful that I achieve them. And sometimes you don't achieve them, but that's a whole different story, right? But then once I have achieved them, I'm like, great, cool. What's next? I'm not surprised that happened, because I've been working towards it for so long that frankly, I knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time.
Right. Facts. It's funny that what you just said, sometimes that can be misconstrued as arrogance, from the people around you, because, and that's tough sometimes too, because it's just like, I know where I'm going. Like I see it already. Once you see it, then you got it. You know what I mean? And so sometimes, it's just like, you start talking about the house you want to build or the plans that you have. And, sometimes people around you, they haven't seen it, which it's not their job to see it. They're not you. But, it's just like, hey, at the end of the day, you just got to stay focused on you. And, people talk when you're doing bad and they talk when you're doing good.
Oh, they're going to talk either way. You just do.
Why not do good? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, get to it. So, yeah.
That's it. Definitely. Well, shout out to everyone on your side of the pond as well in Rochester, New York, watching this podcast. And, shout out to anyone that's a hustler, anyone who's got a side hustle, anyone who's got their own full-time business, anyone who's got a non-for-profit, anyone who's working towards that or has just got the idea in their mind right now, because that's where things start, the idea, the seed that you plant in your mind. You nourish it, it grows. And before you know it, one day you're looking back and you're like, I remember when this was just an idea. And now I'm actually doing it day to day, every day.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember so I think I had I want to say 29 jobs by the time I was 26.
Wow. Bro,
because every time I got a job, I was trying to figure out how to get out of it.
Well, I said that's more than one a year, but you don't start working when you're 1 year old. So my maths is a little off there.
I had a lot of jobs. I mean, I've done commercial cleaning. I've cleaned. Matter of fact, the very first time Generation News aired prime time on ABC, I was literally cleaning a toilet at a doctor's office.
That's mad.
Literally, I was cleaning the toilet. I got a text. Somebody, matter of fact, I remember who it was. It was Justin Algarin, and he said he said prime time, huh? And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, what you talking about? He was like, oh, Generation News is on prime time. I'm like, oh snap! And I'm celebrating, and I have a toilet wand in my hand. It was crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's wild.
Yeah, I remember when I first came to Australia and I was doing commercial cleaning as well. I was cleaning factories, sweeping floors, just doing what I could to earn some decent money. And you can earn decent money here quite quickly if you're willing to work hard. So that was fine. But I was just doing it and thinking this isn't what I want to be doing. This isn't why I came to the other side of the world in 40-degree heat, not Fahrenheit degrees for you guys watching. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Sweeping floors. But I remember thinking, well, if I can do this now, I am a fully qualified plumber. I'll be able to find a job as a plumber, and I'm not going to have to do this again. It's as simple as that. This is just something that I have to go through to get to the next stage, and it's all about levels, right? And as long as you're climbing up the levels, sometimes we sit on one level for a period of time. That's okay. That's fine. But you just don't want to find yourself going back down the levels.
Right. Nah, that's a fact. That's 100% a fact. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's just exciting. Every day is different. As an entrepreneur, you never see the same day twice.
No, you don't.
It's fun. I like the unknown. I'm more comfortable in the unknown. Give me a situation that I know nothing about, and shoot, let's get to it. But for me to do the same thing every day, I don't know. I try to figure out, hey, how can I do something different? So I love this life. It's tough, at times, and it's difficult, it's challenging, it's unreasonable, but it's worth it. It's 1,000% worth it. And you just hustle. You just hustle and you keep going. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other, no matter what. And you turn the blinders on and you turn the volume down of everything around you, and you just get to it.
When you know the why for what you're doing, you can endure anyhow. Can't remember who said that. Certainly wasn't me. I didn't come up with that, but it's one I remember. When you know the why, you can endure anyhow.
I was just telling my friend Steve that earlier. I've been at this. I just set up a membership at a co-work space. So I have some office space or whatever. And I've been going at it all day. I just been working. I just been working to the point where I forgot to eat. I was like, oh snap! I stopped for a second and I realized my stomach was, just cussing me out. And so I'm like, all right, stomach, chill. We're gonna get you some food. And so but I was telling my friend, I said, my friend, that's the bro. I was telling the bro that like, yo, it's incredible how when you have a goal, you know what I'm saying, you have something that you want to accomplish, how the task of it, it almost becomes you become numb to the process because your eyes are your face is set like flint on where you have to go. And I was just like, yo, like I'm so energized and I'm so excited, for what I'm doing right now, between, my business, direct sales and, what I'm doing with, this digital content creation, what I'm doing with Just Hoop and getting that, putting some wheels on that and getting that going. Next month, what I'm doing with Best Skills Academy and, getting information to these teenagers. Like, I'm on go. And then I have a beautiful family that when I turn that off, my kids are incredible. My 3-year-old, my 6-year-old, Maya, shout out to Maya and Cammy. They're the light of my world. And, and I have an amazing wife who I do want to say this, right? It's important that I say this. As much as I've always pushed her and I've wanted her to really like do business stuff with me. And, even in her reluctancy in that space, she has always been supportive of me. Like 1000%. So even though she wasn't like side by side, like, per se in the trenches, building the business with me, she has always been my number one supporter. Like she's never, she knows who I am, and she knows who I am. She's always, she's never limited me. This is somebody who, when I wanted to go, pursue a professional basketball career, like, she was down with me quitting my job, with us moving into my parents' house so we didn't have to pay a rent, with me working a part-time job so I could train 2 times a day. And she rocked with me on that. She built with me and we've been through so much together. And I have so much love for her, and who I am today is greatly as a result, or it's a result as her patience, her kindness, because you can have somebody who like supports you, but low key is just bitter. You know what I'm saying? And they're more or less tolerating, you trying to do this or trying to do that. But no, like, she finds, excitement in it and she pushes me. She tells me when, she doesn't think I'm good at something. I told her I wanted to try stand-up comedy. She was like, I just don't think you're that funny. Like she just shot straight with me. I was like, well, I think I could give it a go. Try it. But then I was really encouraged when she heard my first podcast episode. She was like, nah, that's you. She was like, you're a natural. Like, yo, you can do that. So when I heard that, like, I'm going gangbusters. I'm unstoppable now. Like, yo, can't nobody tell me nothing. I'm already the number one podcaster in the world. So, sorry, Jake. I ain't mean to put you at number 2, but that's that's the kind of confidence that I get, from her. When she believes in me, I'll run through a wall. So I love you, baby. I hope you're watching. She probably still watching The Bachelorette or Bachelor, whatever that show is called.
Watching. I don't know. It'd be too late for your kids to be in bed, right? They wouldn't be watching.
Yeah, no, the kids are knocked out. My daughter has school in the morning. She goes to sleep at 7:30, and we put the youngest one. We give her a little bit extra time because she doesn't have to get up early. So we put her to bed right behind her around like 8 o'clock, 8:30.
Well, I'm sure they'll be able to watch this back, and I'm sure they'll be super proud of their dad, and so they should be, man. I'm sure they're gonna really, really enjoy watching it, and I've really enjoyed spending this time with you, Daniel. Just before we go, I want to ask about I'm not sure if I got the brand name right. Is it Just Hoops?
Yes, just Hoop.
Good, Just Hoop. Tell us about that.
So, all right, the crazy story. So, my friend Steve, right, my bro, we met in 10th grade in high school. I went to a new school for the first time, and we connected, and we immediately bonded over basketball. Like, yo, like we loved the game, we loved the hoop. And so, through the years, what I'm saying, just playing ball, like, yo, he knows me he got to know me so well. Like when I played basketball, he would see me thinking about my moves. So like, and he's laughing right now because it's true. So like literally like, because I would do it in my mind, I'm like, all right, I'm about to go in and out behind the back, crossover, and I'm gonna pull up for this jump shot. And then no matter what the defense did, I was doing that move. Like it was like a robot kind of. And he'd be like, yo, Dan, like, yo, you thinking, just hoop. Just hoop. Like, stop thinking. You're thinking, stop trying to plan your moves out, react, just hoop. And so over the years, like, that's just like, and we used to go play at this one court, Pierce Memorial Church in high school. And we used to be at each other's neck. Like, we used to like, be ready to fight each other, not the other team. Like, cause like he'll take a bad shot and get on my nerve. Like, yo, bro, there's a term if you jacking up shots, like, yo, you jacking right now. Stop. And then I would be jacking. So he'd be like, yo, Dan, like, what is you, bro? And then we fighting each other. But every time we fought, we would just start slaughtering the other team. And so he'd be like, bro, you just hoop, you showing off. So like, it's just something that, we always would say, and it's a basketball term, but, we just was like, yo, like, one day I came to see, I was like, yo, I think we should like that could be on a t-shirt. Like, I feel like I would wear that brand, because, and one, that was a basketball brand, you make a shot, you get fouled, and one. And so that had a good run. So I'm like, yo, what if we did just hoop? And so, we put it together back in 2015. We did like a run of some shirts in 2016, and just hoop is like this project that we gonna get it right eventually. Like every few months we get this inspiration to try and mess with it. But right now, we feel like we're actually starting to get like a rhythm. We want to, start putting out some content for it and really build the brand backwards. So use content to start selling the merchandise. And so that's our strategy. We've got an Instagram for it. It's _justhoop_. You can find us on Instagram, and the store will be up soon. We're working on getting that up, where we'll have, be able to ship all over the world. So if you're in Australia or the UK and you love playing ball, the website will be up soon. So just follow the IG, and more details will come. Plus we're getting a podcast together for that. And we actually just came out with a crazy idea. I'm not going to tell you what we just thought of tonight, but we thought of something that's actually going to be really fun for what we're doing in our city with high school basketball. So stay tuned for that if you're listening. That this actually could be something. COVID is really allowing us, and not COVID, but just the pivots and the things have changed because of COVID are really allowing a lot of different creativity on doing some things. So we got some stuff up the sleeve that, hopefully we can execute it and have a good time with it. But yeah, it's the anthem of the brand is just hoop, just play your game, and just hoop could be like, I know for me, basketball is my happy pill, and I tell my wife this literally, like, if I have a bad day in business, like if I get a whole bunch of no's from customers or not potential customers, prospects, I can't play basketball right now because of my health condition for the next like 3 months. But like, I'll literally be like, yo, I got all no's today. I need to go to the gym. I need to win something today. like I got to get a win. Like I'm not taking L's all day. I got to get out there and hoop. You know what I'm saying? So basketball is like my therapy. There's nothing that I love more than an empty gym, just being able to be in there, shoot, be alone with my thoughts, maybe listen to an audio book, listen to some music. But, I love basketball. It's just something that I feel like, I don't know, it'll always be a part of my life. It's a big part of my life. It's a reason why, I have some of the friendships that I have is they've grown around the game. So, that's what Just Hoop is all about.
That's a fantastic thing. I think that can be found, that piece, that wind down, that relax, that release can be found in any sport. Can be found, for me, it's weight training, right? I like to weight train every day. And that's for me when I'm in there, boom, got the music on, maybe a podcast, maybe an audio book, just me, my thoughts, the weights, and you just exercise all, as well as exercising yourself, your body, you're exercising your mind as well, and purging all that stuff that's come from the day, which some days, man, you're a hustler, you're out here, you're an entrepreneur. Every no takes you closer to a yes, that, but it doesn't stop you getting a fair amount of no's some days.
Right. No's always sting. It's funny. Some people that are around me that know I'm in sales, they think you get immune to no. you don't get immune to no. Like you don't, especially like I feel like my pitch is like mwah. And so if you I just feel like you just kicked me in my gut. No. I feel disrespected. What do you mean no? Tell me no. But yeah, no is we hate no, but if you get enough no's, you're gonna get the yeses you need, so
True. Knocking on enough doors, making enough calls, one of them's gonna answer sooner or later and give you a yes.
Absolutely.
What was that Instagram tag for Just Hoop? Was it _Just Hoop _ after as well?
Correct.
Got it. That is in the comments for everyone. And I'm going to put in the comment as well, but just for the folks who are listening back on audio, where's the best place to connect with you, Daniel, on social media?
On Facebook. So you can find me on Facebook. I'm easy to find there. And then Instagram at the Hustle Bone. I'm pretty much, those are two ways to get a hold of me. I'm pretty quick to respond if someone reaches out. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Before you go, one question I always ask everyone on this podcast, and I'm certainly going to ask you this question. How do you define the word hustle? And I know you've already kind of answered the second bit, but I'd love for you to do it again because you did it quite well the first time. Like, how do you define hustle and what drives your hunger for it?
I think hustle it's almost like that. I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not satisfied with just status quo, right? Because you can get there or you can get there. You know what I mean? And so hustling is that extra exclamation point. You know what I mean? It's that it doesn't just show that you can accomplish the job or accomplish the task, but you can do it with energetically. You can do it with excitement. You can do it with purpose. You can do it with, and that energy is contagious. That's what makes the journey bearable. It is having that enthusiasm. And that's what it is, enthusiasm. That's fine. That's one of the first words I taught my daughter. And to this day, anytime she hears, she'll go, "Daddy, enthusiasm." But yeah, if I'm on a journey, with 10 people, and I want to be around 10 enthusiastic people, 10 people that like, hey, when something breaks down or when something doesn't go right, it's like, hey, we're going to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? And have that hope, that hope that something good is always going to come out of every situation. And so, yeah, I think hustle it's a lot more than just getting stuff done, but it's the attitude on how you get it done. It's the energy that you bring to every task, because again, there's the guy who, I don't know who kind of made up the story, but one guy, there was two guys that were working for a railroad, and one showed up and they asked one guy, said, "What are you working for?" He said, "I'm working for 2 cents an hour." And they asked the other guy, said, "What are you working for?" He says, I'm working to build like the greatest transportation system in the world." And it's perspective. They're both doing the same thing. They're both hustling, literally. But I want to be with the guy who has vision. I want to be with the guy who, again, they bring that energy, that excitement, that hunger to the table, because that's really when innovation happens, and that's when, just, I don't know, it's almost like, it's like magical. That's kind of the best way to describe it. Is just, you get a supernatural result, something that's more than normal. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, like, that's something that, I strive for. I think that's, the DNA. Like, I'm a believer. And one of the passages in the Bible, like the Apostle Paul is like almost like admonishing the people, because he said, you're acting like mere men, like you're acting regular. And, so that really hit me. It's like, man, like, being regular is kind of like, that's not the move. I want to be more than normal. I want to be supernatural. I want to live a supernatural life. And so that's like, what my goals are. And, I might fail a lot, but hey, I'm going to keep at it, because, if I don't know, somebody else did something great, why not me? There was somebody who broke the 4-minute mile. Roger Bannister, matter of fact.
Yeah.
They thought your heart would explode if you did that. Now you have kids in high school that run sub 4-minute miles in practice.
Mm-hmm. He did that I'm not sure what that was. I believe it was in the 70s. I could be wrong though there. And then within him doing it, I think 10 to 12 people did it within a few months.
Yep. I think over 100 in that year.
Really? Wow. And that just shows you, the only limitation is the mind. The only limitation is the mind. And sometimes if you are influenced by it and you live from the outside in, not the inside out, your circumstance and environment can also be a limitation upon you as well. And I'm sure we've all felt that somewhat in the last 12 to 18 months with how the world is. But it also just shows you that that limitation is just false. And that when someone sets a new precedent, it opens the floodgates for everyone else to do it too.
Here's what's crazy, right? So this time, matter of fact, literally this time last year, I was going through a metamorphosis in my business when I was making a transition from focusing on recruiting and team building to customer acquisition, right? And so for me, I was really excited about customer acquisition because I had a better understanding of like the services I was selling, because I knew them, but I didn't sell them that much because my priority was really team building and helping, build distribution. But like, so I'm like, yo, not only do I know a lot about these services, but because of the fact that I'm good face to face with people. So like, for example, like me playing basketball is like business. So I'll go to the court and I told one of my friends this, and if you watch this and you back home, don't tell people my secrets. But if I had someone I wanted to prospect as a customer, like I wanted to sign, let's say one of the services I sell is gas and electricity. If I wanted to have a conversation with them about it, and I knew I like, okay, they're a homeowner, going to talk to them, I would pass them the ball a lot during the game. Like I would go out of my way to make sure that they got a lot of shots during the game. So then after the game, when I go to talk to them, they're like, I like you because you give me the ball. And for those that know me, I really don't give up the ball that much to begin with. This is a huge deal. So I was really excited about this strategy because I knew I could get a lot of customers because I could just go around and talk to people face to face and whatever. But when everything shut down on March 13th or 14th last year, like I was kind of like, yo, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to go? Where am I going to get customers from? Because I'm a face to face guy. And it forced me to hit the phone. Like I developed my own script, and it's funny. Like you sales, you got to qualify people. So I will call people up and say, hey, I was wanting to check in. How's everything? Well, I would tell them, hey, I wanted to talk to you about my business or whatever. About first thing, you just small talk. Hey, how's everything going with you? I know it's crazy right now. How's your family? How's everything going with your job? Are you essential? Like, oh, well, they would tell me, oh, no, I'm essential. Or I'm working from home. Company's good or whatever. And, I'm qualifying them because obviously I'm not going to ask them to, switch a utility if, they're trying to figure out how to pay bills, and so I developed a process and, I was able to, just keep getting customers, and, although I prefer the phone over text when I'm doing business, but I still really don't like to be on the phone that much, if that makes sense. Yeah. But I just made it. Yeah.
Sorry
You said what?
I said, sorry to go across you. You're a people's person, right? And that means, interacting face to face.
If I get you face to face, I'm probably selling you something. And not because I'm a con artist, but because I'm just really good at, doing what I do.
Yeah, that's good. Nothing better than doing what you love, loving what you do, and being good at it as well.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
Every day. We're getting towards the end of the hour and we're going to have to wrap it up. Otherwise, I could talk to you. I reckon we'll do part 2, man. I'd love to have you back.
I'm going to have you on the Hustle Bone. So we're going to hear your story. So, I'm going to return the favor. We'll get you on the Hustle Bone. Yeah. So we'll make that happen. But either way, outside of podcast, let's definitely stay in touch. I mean, I got you on Facebook, Instagram and all of that. Like, hey, the world is small. We got airplanes, so it's nothing. So when we ready to go to Australia, what I'm saying? I already, I got a mate down there, right?
You got a mate, and I got a brother over there now for sure. Yeah, man, we'll make it happen. Absolutely. Folks, thank you all for listening, whatever platform you're listening on. This show is nothing without its listeners, and I really appreciate you all. So please subscribe, give it a review, share it with your friends, family, and peers so they can enjoy it too. Stay hungry, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep hustling, folks. Thank you very much. Until next time. Thank you, Daniel.